To change, to live a fulfilled life, later on you have to make some changes now while you're young. I have something to share. And one of the things I wanted to share with you today is life after 60. I had this experience. I don't know who will join, and it's just for me because I felt that we need to do that. So, and I wanted to share this video with you guys because I went to a church this morning and they asked me to do a talk, and then I was there for 3 hours, which is not normal for me. But what happened is that the ladies, the people in the group wanted to hear more about me. The young woman knows me. Actually, I can't remember, somebody recommended me to her. So she saw me at Mass. She said, we have a meeting, would you like to join and to talk to us about life after aging? And then I listened to their conversation at their meeting, and I realized these people are in their 60s and they're not prepared for aging. And I have like Ryan and all of these people that I interact with and I know, and his wife and so many others, and they're just entering 40s. And the conversation was scary. So I'm sitting down saying, I have this fire on, I have some water, maybe I should talk about it. And again, I was quite surprised that where it led, because it led directly to the 5 pillars. Just bear in mind, you know, I always talk about finance and stuff like that. And what happened was, I'm listening to them and they're telling me, there was about 20 people. We weren't prepared for our aging, for life at 60. And I am thinking, well, I was confused. And for me to be tongue-tied, Ryan knows me well, for me to be there, it mind boggled me. And I'm thinking, you have to start now, no matter where you are. And financial was the big one. If we want to really help our children, is to help ourselves to have financial independence as we grow older. Financial independence is so important. And it's not waiting for the large lottery winning to have it. It's the small, Ryan is there. That's my son. I coach that man. And it's the small amount of money that you put every week that makes the difference when you're 60. Ryan is not 60, he's young. But he has the tools. And I know he will not be sitting in a group like that at 60. There is no way you guys that know that is going to sit like that at 60. Because these people were telling me, they're not sure whether they can continue to live on their own without their children helping. And I'm thinking, these people, they're our children, their mortgages are bigger, their interest rates are higher, everything is more expensive. Their children's education is more expensive than theirs and mine, And I'm thinking, no, they can't. Do not depend on them. To life after 60 should be that life that you plan when you're in your 40s, as early as possible, and small, little bits of tiny $20 here and $10. Ryan knows the drill. And the thing is, you do that constantly, and as you do it, you build it. Because some of them told me they cannot go on a vacation, not because of COVID. They haven't been able to go since they retired. One was a school teacher, and she said that I retired for a school teacher's pension, but my benefits for health is expensive, so it does not allow me to be able to take a vacation like I want to travel, and I love traveling. And you could look into those eyes. They were alert. She's only 65, and her eyes were glistening with the emotional tears. And I thought, wow, okay, so what can I do? And I thought, you know what? I have a platform. 3 of you come. That is 3, 2, 1. Whoever hears this is better than nobody. Maybe somebody's life will be changed, not you, but somebody down the way that heard it or saw it 20 years from now. What I want, and they talked about financial, and the children has moved away, and they have that, and they cannot do this because they feel physically, financially, they can't travel, they cannot take part in hobbies, they have nothing, and they're sitting alone, and COVID did not help. So then one lady put her hand up and she said, it's for me, it's my emotion, my physical health. I didn't know that I should practice walking when I was in my 40s. I'm finding out now I need to walk. I need to do things. And she's saying, what do you recommend? I recommend what I recommend every day. Take a 10-minute break between what you do and walk around the house if it's too cold. Walk around the neighborhood, go down the street, get something to eat, come back again. And she said, I am fine, I have some money, but physically I can't even go see my daughter in New York. I am a retired, she said, a retired banker. And I have an income, and my daughter lives in New York. I can't go visit her because I am not able to maneuver the airport facilities. I am not into, like she said, it's difficult for me to lift my suitcase and the wheel going. Had I known, she said, I would have done the things I'm doing now, chair yoga. She said I could have done regular yoga, but I thought I would be able to do this later on. Later on does not matter. So now, a daughter in New York, a son in Hamilton, it's difficult. I can drive, she said, but my right leg gets tired and cramps, so I'm scared to drive. Even if I go by the GO train, my children worry. So she has so many, and that's physical. Her answer is, I know for sure now that if I had practiced activities when I was in my 40s, I would be able to do this now. In reverse to her, a 92-year-old put up her hand and she said, you know, I do not have any of these two problems. She said, no matter what, I always saved. She said, I worked, she worked with Bell. And she said she worked and she saved with the Bell Credit Union or something. And she said it wasn't a lot, but I have my Bell pension and I have this money in Bell stocks that I can use. I worked 35 years at Bell. It wasn't a big job, but it was smart enough. She said, and I walk. And she says, I still walk. No, I take a walking stick for balance. I'm 92. So you see the contrast there. And I am wondering what will be next. And I said, but I wrote a book about that. Ryan knows. And then I'm thinking, well, one of the ladies said, with me, my husband died, she said. And there's nobody there. And my children are busy with their lives. She said, the evenings are hard. I have no emotional support because it was always just the two of us. We did not do anything outside of the group of two. And now I have no emotional support. She said, the days I sit and I cry and I'm just there and I'm very unhappy. So they're looking at me like Mrs. Fix-It. And I had to do something about it. But then I pray, that same woman said. So she's facing two situations. Her emotional pillar is awful because she can recognize it. And then spiritually, she's expecting a miracle. And she thinks that if she keeps praying and praying and praying, that God will come and fix it. So I asked her if she lives in an apartment. I said, well, what do you do? And one of the ladies in the group, because the church is across from a seniors building, said, I live in your building. Why don't you come on Thursdays? We have a senior group where we laugh, we cook, we make little things in the kitchen. And she said, she didn't answer. She didn't say anything. But you cannot expect emotionally for you to be balanced if you do not step out and to be balanced. And after the talk, I said to her, why don't you join them next Thursday? So I brought them together. And I told the other one lady, call her, exchange your numbers, get involved with each other, and show up. Because when you're in your 60s, there's life that changes. Her husband died, that lady, that emotional situation. And she said she's constantly lonely and she stays in the apartment. Whereas just downstairs, they play cards, they play euchre, they have crocheting, knitting clubs, and then they meet on Thursdays. So I am hoping that she goes. And you know, guys, I don't hope. I put the two of them together, hoping they would go and get together. Now, the thing about as we age, we sometimes tend to think that spiritually, that if we just go to church, it's going to be okay. But it's not okay. Going to church and not taking care of yourself is not okay. It's okay when you live a life where you realize you are important, you were created to specifically this amazing human being. And that is what this other lady was talking about. She said, I joined a group at my church and I really enjoy it. This is not my church, but anywhere there is people, and it's very cold today, so I came here. But normally my church is two bus rides away. So in the winter I go here and I'm just keeping myself involved. And you could see by her face, the way she was dressed, that she looked like she was on top of it. And then, so they did not touch mental prosperity. So I said, what about mentally? What have you learned? Is anybody here teaching themselves something that you can share with others? And one man lifted his hand up and he said, I am learning to play chess. And I said, oh, that's fabulous. I said, I play chess. I play with a computer. No, but before I played with my husband. And my granddaughter, who is 5, when she comes, we teach her. The chess set is always laid out on our table, and she plays, and I play with her. And it is so important because he said, I didn't play chess, but I took it on as a hobby, and it keeps me alive. He said, I go to a chess club every Tuesday afternoon with some guys, and we do pickleball in the summer. So that you are learning and helping somebody else. So if you are in your 40s, look at, my book, The 5 Pillars of Prosperity. Look at it. I didn't realize that they called it, like money was the big thing. Then physical, then emotional and spiritual, like waiting for a miracle from God to heal them. Your foods, they say seniors do not eat properly. And it's important to watch what you eat, what you ingest, how often you eat. And so much takes to having a fulfilled life. I am sitting here, Ryan knows my age, I am 78. I'm 78 years old and I feel amazing. That does not mean that every day I get up, I feel amazing, but every day I get up, I make it myself a miracle. I am a miracle and I have to do better and I have to improve on the miracle. So many things happened this weekend for me. I was talking to a young lady who is black, and I said, who is black, and I said to her, you know what? I said, so much has been done to destroy the race, that each and every black human being that's alive should look at themselves as a miracle. You made it. They tried to crush you. They took us, for our ancestors, from where they were and brought them to where they wanted them. And they tried to destroy them, and you are still there. That just shows that we are phenomenal. We are miracles. We are amazing. And if you know that, no matter what age you're at, you have to do your best. Because so many brains and things they did to extinct that race, and they can't. We're still there. So that's why it is so important to stand up on your own 2 feet. Do not expect your children to support you financially. Do not expect your children to never leave home emotionally and be there for you. Do not expect your children, when you have an ache and you need to get to the doctor, you have to call them and they live 20, 30 miles away or long or further. Do not expect that spiritually, that because you do all of these things, you're going to be fine. Do not expect your brain to last forever unless you stimulate it. So yes, make sure you do what you have to do so that you live that fulfilled life. Because being 60 and those 5 pillars are weak, that means you did not nurture them in your 40s. It's never too early to start to nurture those 5 pillars, and it's never too late to start. What is bad is never having start at all. This is just an impromptu live. I thought about it and I was sitting there with the fire blazing. Why not share it? And that's what I did. So 3 of you came. I don't know who is still hanging on there with me. Oh, Ryan, you're so sweet. Ryan is there with me till the end. Thank you so much, you wonderful human beings. And Ryan, thank you for joining me. I appreciate it because you know what it's like. Do not wait to hear your parents say what 5 pillars that are weak. Come on, get up and make sure you can do the best for yourself. They were talking about financial prosperity. It wasn't working for them. They didn't have the money, and I'm thinking, they're all in their 60s, and all 5 pillars. The only one they didn't mention a lot of, and I brought it to them, was mental prosperity, and hands went up after that. But they went from financial, expecting the children to help them, not having enough money to live an independent life, to pay for what they needed in their life. Physically, ability to move and function on their own, and then emotional, the husband dies, spouses die, and they're just so lost, they have no connection. They live in a building with all of their facilities, yet they're not taken care of. So it was listening and encouraging and pushing. I was at church and they invited me to have a little chat in this group. And I found out there were people that when I talk this, I say, they talk about things that they had problems with. And this man talked about he said finance, he was okay, but many other people he knew weren't, because they did not do anything about growing their finance, which is important to have life after 60. This is what it's all about. You don't start at 60, you need to start at 40, 30, whenever it's ready, and a small amount, so that you have the independence, and depending on children. There's so many big cultures into Canada these days. And a lot of them from back home, their children would support them. Their son's wife would take care of them. But they cannot do that now. So they are suffering because they didn't prepare for financial independence. Then physically, they did not realize, hey, I must keep active, do things to keep my bones flowing. Then I came across emotional. Husband dies, spouses dies, children move away from home, and they're lost. Although they live in a community where they could thrive, they're not taking part of what's happening in the community. And that just told me, hey, Tessa-Marie, your book. And I told them about it. And then what happened was, we talked about spirituality. This lady says she loves going to church. Her church is far away, but in the winter when it's cold like today, she comes to this church across the street. And then the friendship she developed amongst the people, they look for her, they don't see her, they call her. And you see, to live a fulfilled life, you have to pack this all in. And then they didn't talk about their mental health, the mental prosperity. So I brought it up. And I said, I play chess against the computer. And that keeps me going. I said, I always had an idea from my dad, but I pushed more. Now my 5-year-old, when she's around, she's playing with me. I'm teaching her. And she likes to win. So sometimes I show her how to win. And so learn something new. Try something new. Because you cannot wait until you're in your 60s to begin to do things, to live a fulfilled life in your 60s. It's too late. The whole thing has to start in your 30s and your 40s. So it's never too late to start, to build the 5 pillars, so you are able to live a fulfilled life, and it's never too early to start. The earlier you start, the less time you have to put into it at the beginning. So that's why I just jumped on. I said, let me do this. This is just alive and coming from Mass and having this experience. So thank you for coming. To change, to live a fulfilled life, later on you have to make some changes now, while you're young. Thank you, Rosie. That's still for you, Belinda and Ryan. You guys have to start now. Thank you, Belinda. I'm glad you caught it too. And Rosie, what a pleasure to have you. So take care, everybody. Thank you for coming.